and everything be alright.
Welcome back. It's 4 years since 276 girls were abducted by Boko Haram terrorists out of a school in Chibok. 57 escaped on their own, leaving 209 captive, but in October 2016, 24 of them were recovered largely through negotiations by the federal government. In May 2017, 84 of them were also recovered through negotiation by the federal government. And in December, one Chibok girl was found along with another abducted young woman, not one of the Chibok girls, which brings the total of recovered girls to 107, leaving the parents and the community of the 112 remaining girls in a state of trauma. So today makes 2 years since this happening, and we have in the studio Pastor Laddie Thompson, a strategic thinker. Good morning.
Pleasure is mine.
As well as Doris Yarrow, who is an activist.
Pleasure is mine.
Good morning.
Thank
you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let me start with you, Pastor. There are still more than 100 girls missing, and there's still a traumatized set of parents in Chibok. Although the president has told us that this matter is very, very dear to his heart and is going to do all that he can to ensure that the remaining girls come back home, what are your thoughts about the effort being made so far?
Well, let me say, I have said that I think Nigeria is on a learning curve. What we are up against is a monster. And if you look at the statistics you've reeled out, and we look at the statistics across the country, we are still going to have to come to a place where we need to admit that the country is in a state of war, a new type of war, a different type of war. And actually, what these girls represent in reality is collateral damage. Because the point is, 4 years in the life of a young girl is no joke. So let us even presume that the enemy that has abducted them were human in their considerations, then we would have some hope. But when you imagine that a 14-year-old girl is taken away by people who lack conscience, not only do they brutalize, for some of those, the ones that we had to take care of, you know, who escaped from Sambisa, 4 years ago. Even those ones have been brutalized. They've been raped continuously. They've been dehumanized. And they had even turned some of them. So what we're looking at right now is the fact that even if we were to bring those young women back, the girls who are taken can never be returned or restored to Nigeria. And we need to look at these issues strongly. We need to intensify getting them back, but the truth is, this is war, and the government needs to admit that we are in a state of war, so that we can, release all the full force to get them back.
As you say, 4 years in the life of a young girl, and they were taken in their formative years, the young adolescents. It's you are a woman and you're an activist. Do you think that the government is doing enough to bring the remaining girls back? Well, we can't call them girls anymore, can we? 4 years have gone since they were taken, so they'll be young ladies now.
Well, to me, the government needs to do more. Because for 4 years, these girls have been kidnapped, adopted for 4 years. It's like we need to do something. The government needs to do something. About 112 girls are still in captivity. Just 86 or 85 of them that are released. So it's not even up to half of the girls. So they need to do something. And the mothers, the community, they are still in trauma. They are being traumatized. Yesterday and this morning, the mothers were just calling me that what is happening? What is the government doing? So the government needs to do something and bring back those girls.
Anytime we talk about this Chibok girls, it's a painful situation, really painful. Dapchi situation as well comes into mind. Well, those girls were returned except one. But when you say the parents are calling and are really traumatized, what's the situation like generally back? Because it's not just about the Chibok girls, it's not just about the Dapchi girls. There are still some other parents whose children were also abducted.
Yeah, so many parents lost their children are missing. Like, for instance, my husband's uncle, 3 of his boys are missing for 3 years. And because of trauma, this man died, a lecturer in College of Education. A lady, my parents' neighbor, 5 of her children are missing. So many people, it's not story. Some people would think that maybe it's an imagination. No, so many families have lost their beloved ones. So many parents have died because of trauma. And it's like every day, children are missing. Just on Thursday, I was called that 2 young men, they even came to my house in Lagos and worked. They traveled to Maiduguri. And up to now, for 2 weeks, they are not where to be found. All their phones are switched off. And the last call that the elder brother received was that they have reached Maiduguri, so they were to transit to another village. They are missing. And these are boys that I saw. It's no story.
But Pastor, late last year, the president did tell us that Boko Haram had been decimated. And
was that the word you used, decimated?
Well, okay.
Technically
defeated. Actually, let us interrogate this thing very, very well. And one of the reasons why I say so is that I've come to the point, like she said, we're in a place where we're in touch with people who are losing their loved ones on a daily basis. We're looking at bloodshed. We're looking at, it's not far away. This is something that we can touch, the pains of the people. And that makes us to be very serious when we are looking at these issues. Let's first even start from let's first go back to the Chibok before we come into Dapchi and these issues of defeat and all that. Even when the Chibok girls were first kidnapped, I remember that the whole country was in denial. The country had not yet ever faced this kind of thing before. I recall that I think it was her NGO that went into Borno then, into Chibok, to bring out
28 mothers.
some of the mothers, 28 mothers, who came into Lagos. And we were advising her NGO then, and I remember we had a visitor from the United States government, Louis Gomat, who came in his own personal recognition to meet with the girls who had escaped from Chibok and with the mothers. And it was part of his own effort that helped us to establish reality outside Nigeria then, that the girls had actually even been kidnapped at all. If not, Nigeria was still believing that girls were not kidnapped. During the medicals, mothers were going mental. The doctors who treated them, when you look at the report, even the trauma care for the girls that was given by experts that were brought into the country, you don't want to read these things and realize that this is a full-scale war. Now, when the president says that the Boko Haram was technically defeated, maybe he was referring to the military aspect. Normally, they had occupied almost 30 local government areas in Nigeria.